Dark makes Inception look like a children's book. 95% of viewers couldn't solve this show's time travel mystery before the finale. The German Netflix series broke every rule about storytelling, and honestly, I was one of those people completely lost until the very end. Dark is the most ambitious television series I've ever seen, and I'm someone who has watched everything from Lost to Westworld. The story follows dysfunctional characters from the fictional town of Winden in Germany as they pursue the truth in the aftermath of a child's disappearance. But calling it a missing child story is like calling the ocean a puddle. You have no idea how deep this thing goes. This show did something no other series dared to do. While American TV was playing it safe with procedurals and superhero shows, German creators Baran Bo Odar and Jantje Friese crafted a 3-season masterpiece that treats its audience like they have functioning brains. The writing is so tight that every single detail from season 1 pays off by the finale. Every conversation, every background prop, every seemingly throwaway line becomes essential later. I'm talking about background newspapers, random graffiti, even the positioning of objects in rooms. Everything matters. What absolutely destroyed my brain was how they handled time travel. Most shows use time travel as a plot device to create drama or fix problems. Dark approaches it like a mathematical equation. The show embraces deterministic time loops, which means that the events of the past, present, and future are all fixed. Nothing can be changed because everything that happened was always going to happen. Free will becomes an illusion, and that philosophical weight hits different when you really think about it. The production quality is insane for a German series working with a fraction of Hollywood budgets. The cinematography uses this cold, desaturated color palette that makes Winden feel like the most depressing place on Earth. Even sunny days look overcast and threatening. The sound design creates this constant sense of dread. You feel trapped even when characters are just having normal conversations about school or work. And the opening credits sequence? Pure work of art that gets more meaningful with each season as you understand the symbolism. Behind the scenes, this show was a logistical nightmare to produce. The creators had to track storylines across multiple timelines, age up and down actors convincingly, and maintain continuity across decades. They literally created a writer's room that looked like a detective's evidence board with strings connecting characters across time periods. The attention to detail borders on obsessive. They tracked which characters could meet which other characters in specific time periods without creating paradoxes. Industry impact-wise, Dark proved non-English content could dominate global streaming platforms. It paved the way for shows like Squid Game and Money Heist to find massive international audiences. Netflix executives initially worried American viewers wouldn't watch subtitled content. Dark proved them wrong and completely changed their entire international strategy, leading to massive investments in foreign language productions. The show also influenced how streaming platforms approach complex narratives. After Dark's success, we saw more shows willing to trust audiences with complicated plots that require active engagement rather than passive consumption. Shows like Russian Doll and Undone clearly drew inspiration from Dark's approach to time and causality. Okay, before we continue, 98% of you haven't subscribed yet. That hurts, but we'll forgive you if you hit that button right now. These videos take ages to research, edit, and polish, and every sub tells us, hey, keep going, this is worth it. Our goal is to drop that number to 70% by the end of the year, and you can help us get there. So smash that subscribe and let's jump into season 1. The story begins in 2019 Winden when teenager Mikkel Nielsen disappears during a group outing to the caves. His brother Magnus, sister Martha, and friends Jonas and Bartosz were with him that night. The disappearance tears apart 4 interconnected families: the Nielsens, Conwalds, Dopplers, and Tiedemans. Police investigate but find no trace of Mikkel. His father Ulrich becomes obsessed with finding him. His mother Katharina, the high school principal, tries maintaining normalcy while Winden harbors disturbing secrets spanning generations. Jonas Conwald returns to school after his father Michael committed suicide months earlier. He's struggling with grief and taking medication. Jonas develops feelings for Martha Nielsen, Mikkel's sister, but their relationship becomes complicated when he discovers his father left behind a letter warning about certain events that seem impossible. The investigation leads to the Winden Caves, where strange disappearances have occurred for decades. In 1986, another child named Mads Nielsen, Ulrich's brother, also vanished. In 1953, 2 more children disappeared under eerily similar circumstances, suggesting a pattern beyond coincidence. An elderly man named H.G. Tannhaus owns a clock shop and studies time travel theories. A mysterious priest named Noah recruits young people for unexplained purposes, while power plant worker Bernd Doppler knows more than he admits about the cave system connecting to his facility. Through flashbacks, we witness the 1986 Winden. Teenage Ulrich and Katharina are dating when Ulrich's brother Mads disappears after entering the caves. The incident traumatizes young Ulrich and shapes his adult obsession with finding missing children, creating the very determination that defines his character decades later. The time travel mechanism centers on the Winden Caves, where a portal exists connecting 1953, 1986, and 2019, exactly 33 years apart. Mikkel Nielsen, from 2019, falls through this portal and emerges in 1986. Unable to return home, he's adopted by nurse Ines Conwald and changes his name to Michael Conwald. This creates a bootstrap paradox that messes your brain. Michael Conwald grows up in 1986, marries Hannah in the 2000s, and fathers Jonas in 2002. But Michael is actually Mikkel from 2019, meaning Jonas is searching for his own father as a child. The realization that he caused his father's existence drives Michael to suicide, leaving the letter for Jonas. The bodies of Eric and Yasin, missing children from 2019, appear in 1953, demonstrating the time displacement effects. An underground facility beneath the power plant conducts experiments manipulating the time portal, suggesting organized involvement rather than random supernatural events. The mysterious Noah reveals himself as manipulating events across all time periods. He works with an older version of Jonas from the future, who's desperately trying to prevent an apocalyptic event. Their interventions may actually be causing the very disaster they're attempting to stop, creating an endless cycle of cause and effect. Ulrich travels back to 1953 and attempts to murder young Helga Doppler, believing this will prevent future tragedies. He fails and gets arrested, becoming trapped in the past. Helge grows up to become the adult who helps Noah with the time travel experiments, proving that trying to change the past only ensures it happens exactly as it always did. The season ends with Jonas traveling to 2052 and discovering a post-apocalyptic wasteland. The Winden he knows is destroyed, and the few survivors live in bunkers. Elizabeth Doppler, now an adult, leads this community while the older Jonas, calling himself the Stranger, reveals he's been trying to fix the timeline for decades. We also meet young Helga Doppler in 1953, who becomes crucial to the time travel experiments. After being attacked by Ulrich, Helge develops the psychological damage that makes him susceptible to Noah's manipulation. The trauma creates the very person who will help perpetuate the cycle, showing how attempts to break the loop actually strengthen it. Hannah's obsession with Ulrich reaches dangerous levels when she falsely accuses Katharina's father of sexual assault, destroying his reputation and life. This vindictive act demonstrates how personal grievances ripple across time, affecting multiple generations of families in ways the perpetrators never intended. The relationship between past and future versions of the same characters creates incredible tension. When young Helge meets his older self, the encounter traumatizes him further. When Claudia encounters her older self, she struggles to accept the choices her future self has made. These meetings force characters to confront their own capacity for change and growth. Season 2, the time portal destabilizes, creating additional pathways to 1921, 1954, 1987, 2020, and 2053. Jonas finds himself trapped in the post-apocalyptic world of 2052, where Winden has been destroyed by a catastrophic event. Adult survivors include Elizabeth Doppler, who leads a group trying to rebuild civilization in the radioactive wasteland. In this devastated future, Jonas meets an older version of himself called the Stranger, who has spent decades traveling between time periods, gathering information and artifacts needed to break the temporal cycle. The Stranger believes he can prevent the apocalypse by destroying the original time machine. Back in 1987, we see how past events connect to the present crisis. Young Hannah develops an obsession with Ulrich after witnessing him cheat on Katharina. This teenage crush will have massive consequences decades later when she manipulates events to separate Ulrich and Katharina, ultimately leading to Hannah traveling to the 1950s. Claudia Tiedemann emerges as a major player in the time travel conspiracy. As director of the nuclear power plant, she discovers the time portal and begins her own investigations. Claudia travels between time periods, gradually understanding the full scope of the temporal disaster while building her own faction to combat the approaching apocalypse. The power plant accident that created the original portal stems from experiments conducted. Tannhaus in the 1950s. Tannhaus lost his family in a car accident and became obsessed with creating a time machine to save them. His experiments created the wormhole connecting the different time periods, though he never realized the full consequences. Noah's true identity emerges. He's actually Hanno Tauber, a priest working for a mysterious figure called Adam. Adam claims to be an older version of Jonas, who has given up trying to prevent the apocalypse and now wants to destroy the time loop entirely by ending all existence. This creates conflict between the two versions of Jonas with opposing philosophies. Martha Nielsen becomes central to the mystery when she begins experiencing strange visions and memories from other timelines. She develops romantic relationships with both Jonas and her brother's friend Bartosz, creating emotional tensions that mirror the temporal complications affecting everyone in Winden. Magnus and Franziska Nielsen discover their own roles in the time travel conspiracy when they're recruited by different factions. They learn that their adult selves have been manipulating events across multiple time periods, working for both Noah and Claudia in different timelines. The second season introduces the concept of multiple worlds, alternate realities, where different versions of events played out. Characters begin encountering other versions of themselves, leading to identity crises and moral dilemmas about which version of reality deserves to exist and which timeline should be preserved. Charlotte Doppler discovers she's she's trapped in her own time loop. She's both the mother and daughter of Elizabeth Doppler due to temporal displacement. This generational paradox demonstrates how the time travel has created impossible family relationships throughout Winden. The season culminates with Martha Nielsen being shot and killed by Adam, who reveals she was carrying Jonas's child. However, in the final moments, another version of Martha from an alternate world appears to rescue Jonas, proving that the story extends beyond the single timeline we've been following. Season 3. The final season reveals the biggest twist. There are two parallel worlds, and everything we've seen has been happening simultaneously in both realities. In World 1, Martha dies saving Jonas. In World 2, Jonas dies saving Martha. These mirror worlds create endless variations of the same tragic story. The two worlds are mirror images with crucial differences. Characters have different names, relationships, and fates. In World 2, Martha Nielsen is the one who discovers time travel, while Jonas becomes the secondary character. Eva, Martha's older self from World 2, leads a faction trying to preserve the time loop. She directly opposes Adam's faction, which wants to destroy everything. The real architect of the time loop is revealed to be the Origin, a character who exists in both worlds simultaneously. The Origin manipulates events across all timelines to ensure the loop continues indefinitely. This character is actually the son of Jonas and Martha from a third timeline that was erased when the loop was first created. Claudia Tiedemann becomes the key to solving the entire puzzle. She spends decades traveling between worlds and time periods, eventually discovering the moment where the loop can be broken. The solution requires Jonas and Martha to prevent the original car accident that killed H.G. Tannhaus's family, eliminating his motivation to create time travel. The car accident that killed Tannhaus's son, daughter-in-law, and granddaughter was the original tragedy that motivated him to invent time travel. By saving his family, Jonas and Martha can prevent him from ever creating the time machine, thus erasing both worlds and the endless cycle of suffering that has plagued Winden for generations. Meanwhile, we see how different characters across both worlds have been manipulated by the Origin. Peter Doppler, Trante Nielsen, and Regina Tiedemann all have different fates depending on which world they inhabit. Some live happier lives in one world while suffering in another, demonstrating how the multiverse affects everyone differently. The relationship between Adam and Eva becomes the central conflict. Adam represents the philosophy of ending suffering by destroying existence, while Eva believes in preserving life even if it means eternal repetition of pain. Their war spans both worlds and all time periods, with various characters serving as pawns in their cosmic chess game. Hannah Conwald's role expands as we learn she has been traveling between time periods longer than anyone realized. Her pregnancies in different timelines create additional temporal paradoxes, and her relationships with different versions of Ulrich and Egon Tiedemann affect multiple generations across both worlds. In the climactic scenes, Jonas and Martha travel to the origin point, the night of the car accident in a third original world where no time travel exists. They arrive at the moment of the storm that would cause the crash and save Tannhaus's family. By preventing this tragedy, they sacrifice themselves and their entire reality to restore the natural timeline. The series ends in this original world where Winden exists normally. Most characters live happier lives because they never experience the trauma of the time loops. The families are at peace because the supernatural crisis never occurred. Hannah is pregnant and considering naming her child Jonas. Regina and Katharina are friends. Ulrich has found happiness with Hannah. Only Regina remembers fragments of the other worlds in her dreams, suggesting some echo of the alternate realities persists even after they were erased from existence. And that's how Dark ends, with Jonas and Martha literally sacrificing their entire reality to fix the original tragedy that created the time loop. Their love story becomes the key to saving everyone by ensuring they never exist. And so, what did you think about Dark's solution to its time travel paradox? Do you believe Jonas and Martha made the right choice destroying their worlds to save the original timeline? Let me know in the comments, and please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time.